Hello, everybody out there in internet land. It's M.Strange here. I guess I just wanted to show you what's going on with I Am Nightmare right now and what I have to do so I can get it to you. So the whole movie is animated. As you can see, here's my timeline for sequence 1, which I'm now lighting and rendering. And so what I'm working with here, these are the offline renders, or I use the OpenGL hardware renders. So these are just temp placeholders. So it's the animation, it's the shots, but it doesn't have any lighting or textures. So now what I'm doing now is lighting and rendering the shots. And so the way I'm doing it to keep track of it, so here in Premiere Pro, I'm using labels. So the clips that are green are ones that I've already lit and sent to render. And the ones that are red means there's a problem, like I need to fix something or something's missing. So like these shots, I opened the save file, but it's not animated, so I don't know what happened to it, so I have to reanimate it or something. So what I'm doing is, so I go into Cinema 4D, or I look at, let's go see the next shot. So the next shot that I have to do is shot number 69. And so I'm going to go open that shot, go to my shot, sequence 1, and go to shot 69. And I'm going to open it. It's going to give me an error because the shots were created in Cinema 4D 11.5. Now I'm rendering them in 13 because I upgraded. So some stuff doesn't work. So I have a checklist here on my desk of things I have to do. And the first thing I have to do is run these 4 scripts. So this is a coffee script, a Python script, a Python script, and another coffee script. And what these are doing are changing settings in the textures, in the shaders, because when I first created the characters, I forgot to turn on the Fresnel shader. So I have the Fresnel on all the textures for the characters in their luminance, reflection, and transparency to give them like the porcelain doll look. So I forgot to do it on their bodies, I just did it on their heads. So I made one of these scripts that automatically goes and fixes the textures, and these just do different things. So the first thing I have to do is run these 4 scripts. Just by clicking here, and it's running them and fixing stuff. You can see maybe some difference in the face because it changes the eye texture too. And then if there's dialogue, which there is in this shot, then you can't see it because it's on my other screen because I'm running triple screens. But let's see if I can pull this off and show you. So then what I have to do is I have to bake the dialogue, because let's delete this because I'm not using it and it's incompatible. I have to bake the dialogue because the sound effector, I'm using the MoGraph sound effector to do the lip sync, and it doesn't work right with net render. It's just the way it is, so I have to bake keyframes. So I can go search. I know it's under face controls, and then I'll move this so you can see here. So then to bake it, I have to turn on my baker object, which I guess I can't explain all this right now as to what it does, but so let's go into the hierarchy for my face controls. This is a talker thing that controls lip sync that I gave away a couple tutorials back, same exact one. This is the jaw, which is animated, so then I set a key on that so I can bring it up here, and then I have to go bake, and I just want the rotation. So then I bake that. So now you can see there's all these keys here because it's baked. And then I go back into the face controls, and then I turn all these 3 things off. And so it doesn't give me a texture error, because that's one of the problems with the sound effector I found. I have to go delete these audio files that I was using. So that's step 2 as part of what I have to do. So then the second thing on my checklist is to fix the character's eyes. So I had to replace the actual iris, the eye texture, which one of these scripts does, but then I need to replace the white of the eye, which is a shader, so I can't simply replace a texture to fix it. So then I click here, and I press key for scroll to first active, which brings up my eye textures, right? Then I'm using this old tool, I don't even remember the name of it, but I told you about it in an old tutorial, and this loads eye textures, which are on this screen. So this is the eye texture I want, so I alt drag to replace it, and then here's my eye white that just loaded in here, So then I have to go and put that on here. So now the eyes are fixed. And then the other thing I have to do is I'm using surface spread for my trees, and like a dumbass, I turned on the performance filters, which makes it so you only see the trees are in the camera, which works well, but then when the camera's moving, it makes trees pop on and off the screen, which I don't want. So then I go down here and search for my trees. Here's the surface spreads. I select them both, and then I turn off the performance filters for the render. Then I go down on my checklist and it says to load my preset render settings. So then I have render setting presets. So I go do that, turn that on. Then I need to set up my Z blur with my preset curve for a narrow camera. So then what I want to do is go into top view and turn on other, which will show my Z blur visualization as to what is in focus and what isn't. So here is Z blur. So the white is in focus, the blue isn't. So I do that, and then I just make sure that's good. It's stationary, so it's not a problem. Then I go turn this off. It's pretty complicated, right? And I'm doing this for every single shot. I'm not even to lighting it, so you gotta be kind of a psycho. Show preset render settings, and then I want to switch this off because I want to do a preview render, and I need to put the save path. Oops, you can't see that. So I turn off the Z blur and the anti-aliasing just for this preview render, so it goes faster. And then I need to input where I want the multipass, because if you don't put this, it won't save the multipasses. And thanks to Jimmy Screamer Claus for the tip that I could just type the name in, because I used to pull it up and save it and take forever. So now I have to add my lighting, which I have preset. As you'll see here, I have preset lighting setups for all of the sets that I made ahead of time. But with this one, it's already active in my copy paste, so I can just paste it in here. And then I just have to change some things, because most of these lights are only for certain objects. So I only want to light the kids with this light, and oops, not the grass, this one, and that's it. So then once I have that, I just want to make sure her lip sync works. Yes, it does. So then I'll go to one frame and then do a test render. So this is taking a lot longer because I'm talking through it, but I can do all of this in I think less than about 3 minutes or 4 minutes, because I have to do 50 of these a day, and I have a little checklist, and so it's just really repetitive tweaker work. So then now I'm checking the render, and I'm gonna look and just see if there's anything problematic with the shot, because sometimes you know, I didn't make this movie in a rush, but I just, you know, move forward. I wanted to move forward quickly, and sometimes you make mistakes. So sometimes there's weird things I need to fix in the geometry, like their necks overlapped on the chest because I didn't test it out enough. Like, you can probably see it, or maybe you won't even pick up on it, but I'm gonna fix it anyway. So you see this, how her neck's overlapping there and here in the chest. So then I'll go in here and grab this and grab my brush and make it like that, and then I'm just gonna pull this out a little bit. I know you don't see the back here, but you know, when you're a tweaker, you gotta fix it. You're like, but it's incorrect, I have to fix it. So, and I mean, there's some errors in some of the textures, or they're just sloppy, and partly I did part of that on purpose. So obviously it's not going to be perfect, but you know, when there's things I didn't intend that are mistakes, like, oh, see, she has a jiggle deformer on her hair, so I need to preview that. And so now that I have this shot and I did a test render and it looked good, then what I do is I turn, okay, now I'm going to turn the Z blur back on, because it would have rendered that too in the preview. Then I turn the anti-aliasing back on. I make sure I have my save path, and then I'm going to save it to the render server. So I need to make a folder and then save the shot. And then now this thing is ready to render. And the reason I'm doing it like this, so before, usually the normal way you would do it, you go save project with assets, and it would save the project file and the textures, but that takes longer because it has to send that across the network. So what I did was that I went and just copied all of my textures, like texture folders, onto the render server and set those paths for the render server and the client, so that all I need to do is save the project file and then it finds the textures on that local computer. So then let me see if I can show you this. So I'm using remote desktop to monitor my render client, so you can see it's rendering all these frames. But for some reason it wasn't. Alright, so then I can show you how to submit them to. So it's currently running this shot. So then I'm going to go back down here, 669. So I start it, now that's in the queue. So I can send this back over here. Oops. So yeah, and now I know this shot has been sent to render, so then I have a label for sent to render, so now that's green, and then now I go to the next shot. So that's what I'm doing for every single shot in the whole movie, which is 1,450 shots, but my goal is to have this all done this month. So I'm just tweaking, hustling, submitting, going faster, faster, go! So this is what I'm doing so I can get I Am Nightmare to you this Christmas. So thanks to everyone who's pre-ordered the film, who's donated, who watches these, who supports them. You can still pre-order it and I'll draw you a postcard. So yeah, I'm really stoked to get this done, so I better get back to it. Okay, bye.